So take advantage of that and watch a video again, or just scroll it to the spot where you need help. Okay, so we're going to do something similar to what we did in 6-7 with adding and subtracting. We're going to go back and help Mr. Chandler's daughter. We're going to help her with her homework. This is Don't Touch a Calculator, but I want you to see if you remember your 3rd or 4th grade math, and multiply and divide. Do as many of number 1 as you can, then pause before we start the next set. Okay, so number 1, let's try to help Mr. Chandler's daughter with multiplying and dividing. What do you remember? And do as much of it as you can. So this is going to be what becomes tricky, is you do something different with addition and subtraction than what you do with multiplication and division. All right, for letter A, does somebody who feels confident want to share with us? What do you do when you multiply? Yeah, Jake?
Multiply the numerator and the denominator.
Awesome. It is that easy. Multiply your numerators. Multiply the denominators. That is it. Now, in letter B, though, you can actually do a step. Did anybody notice something you could do before you did the multiplication? Mia, what'd you do? All right, because it's multiplication, all 4 numbers are factors. So you can actually cancel the 7s, because 7 divided by 7 is what? 1. So there's actually a 1 in both spots. Then you take 1 times 3 and 8 times 1. Now, there's nothing wrong with multiplying first and then reducing, but because of where we're headed with the rational expressions, we're going to want to reduce first, okay? All right, letter C. Who remembers how to divide a fraction? We've talked about this a few times this year. What do you do, Mia? Yeah. When you divide fractions, and really you're dividing by a fraction, okay? If you are dividing by a fraction, you change it to multiplication by the reciprocal of the divisor. So this becomes 8 over 11 times 11 over 5. Now, I need you to be really careful. This is going to come into play with when you're left with just something in the denominator. But do you see the 11s cancel to a 1? So that's 8 times 1 over 1 times 5. But oftentimes we just cancel them and we don't write anything. But it's implied those are 1s, okay? All right, so then how about letter D? You're going to take 5 over 6 times 7 over 15. So watch what I'm going to do. 5 goes into 5 once. 5 goes into 15 3 times. So 1 times 7 is 7. 6 times 3 is 18. So, to explain to Mr. Chandler's daughter how to multiply and divide, to multiply fractions, all you do is multiply numerators and denominators. So what is the difference between adding and multiplying? Can anybody explain what's the difference between adding fractions and multiplying fractions? What's kind of a big difference? What did we do with addition? Awesome. When you're adding, you need to have the same denominator or get a common denominator. When I'm multiplying, do I need to get a common denominator? No. Okay. To divide fractions, first, change to multiply by the reciprocal of the divisor, and then it becomes a multiplication problem. And if you really have a goal of understanding Algebra 2, I strongly recommend you read through your notes several times, like before we ever have a quiz. Like I would read through these before you start homework. Okay, to multiply, this is what I do. To divide, this is what I do. Like do that today. Then tomorrow, read it again. It really deepens your understanding. So if you sit there and saying, I'm not very good at math, here's a suggestion. If you have not done this before, it is amazing. All right, Mrs. McInerney's niece Willow is continuing to study rational functions. We need to help her with her homework. All right, so I'm going to pause a moment. I'm going to give you maybe 2-3 minutes, and you can look up above to see how similar the problems are. And let's see if you can multiply and divide with the rationals. And make sure when you're doing part C and D, you have to do that first step where you change it to multiply by the reciprocal of the divisor. You can't skip that. Okay, you'll get them wrong if you do that. All right, in letter A, did you cancel the x plus 3's? Because those are factors, and you have 1 over x plus 5. Here, nothing canceled, and I end up with 7 times x plus 1 over x plus 8 times x plus 6. You do not need to multiply it out, because we want to check to see if you can reduce, and so factored form is best. So again, in letter B, nothing canceled. Okay, nothing canceled. In letter C, I'm going to change this to multiply by the reciprocal. then what can I do?
Cancel x minus 11.
Good job. You can cancel the x minus 11s because they're in the factors. So this becomes 3x plus 8 over 2x minus 5. And then in letter D, this becomes multiply by the reciprocal of the divisor. A divisor is what you're dividing by, so it's always the second fraction, okay? Now, I can cancel an x plus 1, but what else can I cancel?
It's just to make it 5x.
No, that's not going to cancel to 5x. The x's, right? 6x squared means 6 times x. So one of those x's is going to cancel. So I have 6x times x minus 2. Now technically that's over 1. And then we don't leave like 5 over 1 or 8 over 1. So then we can drop it. But let me make a note here. If you would end up canceling the numerator, it would end up being like 1 over, I don't know, x plus 4, okay? So make sure that when the numerator completely cancels out, that's still a 1 in the numerator, okay? It's like saying if I had the 4 is in the bottom, 1/4 is not the same as 4. So that's a big difference. All right, how do you do this? It's the same as above. We're not going to rewrite it. In the previous section, you learned to add and subtract rational expressions by finding a common denominator. In this section, you will learn to multiply and divide rational expressions. Rational expressions are like numerical fractions, like in number 1 above. So you're going to do it the same way. So watch this. Here's your steps. Step 1. Factor each numerator and denominator. Step 2, cancel common factors. And step 3, multiply what's left. So the steps are different, okay? So the steps are different. So again, step 1, factor each numerator and denominator. Step 2, cancel common factors. Step 3, multiply what's left. So let's look at example 3. You're asked to multiply x plus 2 over x squared minus x minus 20 times 3 times the quantity x squared minus 7x plus 10 over 3x squared minus 12. So I'm going to pause a moment and I want you to factor each numerator and each denominator. Sometimes that's going to take more than one step, like line anyway. Now can you see why I have been after you to factor? I was trying to set you up for success. I was trying to make your life easier by practicing factoring all year. If you go to pre-calculus, you factor in trigonometry. We're not going to see that in Algebra 2. We introduce trigonometry, but in pre-calc, you'll take it up a notch and do factoring with it. What is step 1 in factoring? GCF. So in some of the positions, you might have a GCF, and others you don't. So you've got to know how to do all of your factoring. You cannot cancel terms. So I keep seeing this every single year. I teach this. I see students try to cancel the x and the x squared. You can't do that because they're not factors. It doesn't work. All right, so I'm going to start it. X squared minus x minus 20 factors into x minus 5, x plus 4. X squared minus 10x plus, x squared minus 7x plus 10 factors into x minus 5, x minus 2. Now, I'm not done factoring, okay? I'm not done factoring. So this can get a little tedious that you have to write a lot. X squared minus 4 factors into x plus 2, x minus 2. Now I can start canceling a bunch of things. So can you see I can cancel the 3's? I can cancel the x minus 5 and x minus 5. I can cancel the x minus 2, x minus 2, x plus 2, x plus 2. Now those are all 1's up in the top. So this ends up being 1 over x plus 4. This is what I was talking about, where don't make the answer x plus 4. The x plus 4 is down in the bottom of the fraction. What's implied in the top is a 1, okay? All right, questions on that one? So today is office hours. If you're struggling with factoring, I should be seeing you today. And I wrote a couple of notes on homeworks if you should be coming into office hours. And if you didn't turn in your homework today, you need to come to office hours and finish it. All right, so division. Your first step is to change the problem to multiplication. On the next problem, I'm going to show you, because we have to write so much, I start multitasking. And what I do is when I'm changing the problem to multiply by the reciprocal, I start factoring all my positions at the same time. And that'll save me one line of work. All right, so when you're dividing, you change the problem to multiply by the reciprocal. Now I'm going to pause a moment, and I want you to factor everywhere. And remember what I've told you, is there will be clues. So if you can't figure out how to factor the first numerator, go try the other spots. And then you're probably going to have something that's going to cancel. And that can give you a helpful clue as to how to factor one of the positions that it's not coming to you. All right, so I'm getting x minus 11, x plus 5. I factor out the 2 and got x minus 4. This is going to be x minus 11, x minus 3. Can you give me thumbs up? How many got it factored correctly? Okay, those of you that don't have a thumbs up, I should see you in office hours today. So I'm going to knock out the x minus 4, the x minus 11s. What's left? X plus 5, and in the bottom is 2 times x minus 3. All right, the last one I want to do today. I'm going to pause and let's see if you can do the whole distance on your own, because I think you can. You can, but you don't have to, because the purpose is you want to have it factored to see if you can cancel anything else. So then we just leave it factored. Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah. I don't know, let's see. X plus 5, x minus 2. Oh, you did that good shortcut. X minus 2. X minus 3x plus 1. So this x plus 1 canceled, this one canceled. Yeah, that looks good. Let me check. Yeah. It doesn't matter, one in the bottom with one in the top, but you can't cancel it twice. That's like saying I have 4 over 2. So if you change 4 to 2 times 2, that doesn't become 1, right? Okay. All right, on this one, I'm going to show you my multitask technique. I'm going to start factoring right away. But at the same time, I'm going to multiply, and then I'm going to factor this one first as x minus 2, x plus 1, and I'm flipping and factoring. Do you see what I mean? So if you can handle this, skip the step, okay? If you can handle it, we can skip a whole step of work. Now, and I can cancel 1 x plus 1 in the bottom with 1 in the top. It doesn't matter if I do the one directly above it or the one in the other fraction. Never ever have I said it has to be at a diagonal. That's not true. I can cancel any factor in a denominator with any factor in any numerator, okay? And x minus 2 cancels, and you end up with x plus 1 over x plus 5 times x minus 3. Now, whoops, is that right? Yeah, okay. I don't know why I wrote that. Okay, x minus 3. Okay, so how do we feel about multiplying and dividing? Feel good? Awesome, awesome.